Hello, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that each and every one of you are feeling amazing. I myself, I am feeling incredible. I certainly am. I'm up late night, feeling right, and about to present to you another live stream. This is your host, Awesome Will here, and this is Gifted Magazine, providing you with any and everything you may need. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go right into it, right? I'm not going to hold you long. But this is a very, and I mean very interesting yet intriguing topic because many of us find ourselves going down this path to change, feeling that if we make this change, that could possibly be the beholder of a healthy change, or a more beneficial future for some of us. You know, uh, Change is good, but sometimes we ask ourselves, is it worth it? Because it seems that, realistically speaking, that in most cases or instances that we decide that we want to change for the better, things always seems to worsen. Your current state mentally, sometimes it can be altered and you begin or things around you began or begin to transform more negatively in your life and you can't seem to understand why. But don't look at it as a problem simply because the problem has already been solved. And what's currently happening is supposed to happen because it's a shift, not only in the way that you speak, not only in the way that you think, but it's also for, and these things too hold an account for your personal growth as well. And these things are happening in your life. And sometimes, like I said, you have absolutely no idea as into why these things happen. But when it involves science, when it involves spirituality, you'll understand or you'll understand or you'll have a better understanding that these things must happen for personal growth. But does it is it even possible to change for the better? Now, scientifically, with a proven scientific study, which I'm going to be sharing with you, it states that change for the better or better improvement of life, a better quality of life, a better quality of thinking, with change, it still isn't possible. And it's not even worth the investment. Now, let's dive deeper. Let's dive deeper. And what I want you to do is, I want you to really focus on what it is I'm saying to you. And I really want you to look at it in a way or look at it as laundry. You wash laundry, right? Many of us wash laundry. I wash my own laundry, right? So there has to be a separation of the colors, a separation of the whites, you know, etc. Now, not saying, culture or black and white, but these are just elements of the change process, right? And you feeling that change isn't possible, or it's possible. When you do better, it seems like things worsen. So there has to be a separation between mental and physical. There has to be a distinguishing of the mind. There has to be a divide from the mind versus the physical, although they all are connected. And I spoke on this a couple of months ago regarding the mind giving the body the signals to do naturally what the body would do. It all begins with the mind, right? But science states that it doesn't work. So, personality topic, labor, human activity. The science of personal growth and why it often falls short. Personal growth has become a booming industry with countless books, seminars, and online courses promising transformation. Yet, despite the abundance of resources, many individuals find themselves stuck, questioning why these strategies don't yield the desired result. This YouTube Live will better explain the science behind personal growth, exploring both its potential and the reasons it sometimes doesn't work as expected. The foundations of personal growth. Number one, being the growth mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the concept of the growth mindset, which posits that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. Is it so? Now, this contrast with a fixed mindset where individuals believe their traits are static. Research suggests that adopting a growth mindset can lead to increased motivation and achievement. Number two, self determination theory, developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. Self determination theory emphasizes the importance of autonomy, competence, and relatedness in fostering intrinsic motivation. When these needs are met, individuals are more likely to pursue personal growth. Neuroplasticity. Number three, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neutral connections, known as neuroplasticity, underpins our capacity to learn and adapt. Engaging in new experiences and learning can enhance this plasticity, facilitating personal development. Why personal growth strategies sometimes fail. Despite the scientific backing, personal growth initiatives don't always produce the desired outcomes. Several factors contribute to this what? Discrepancy. Number one, misapplication of concepts. While the growth mindset is a powerful concept, its misapplication can lead to disappointment. For instance, merely encouraging effort without providing effective strategies can result in frustration, right? Recent analysis have found that growth mindset interventions may have limited effects on performance if not implemented correctly. Number two, lack. What? Lack, LACK, of personalized approaches. Personal growth is not one size fits all. Did you hear that? It ain't like a pack of tube socks. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like tube socks. One size fits all, size 6 to 12, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about lack of personalized approaches, right? Let me say that again for you. Let's rewind or let's hit playback. Personal growth is not one size fits all. Hmm? Why is that? Oh, we're going to get to it. Strategies effective for one individual may not work for another due to differences in what? Personality. That's for starters. It may not work for the other one, right? Due to personalities, a difference in personalities, right? Not only personalities, but what? Circumstances and what? Goals. Come on, man. Come on. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? And not only how beautiful it is, how direct that is. It's amazing, right? There's no cracking of a code whatsoever. It's right in your face, right? No cracking of any codes are necessary, right? One individual, this is why, one individual may not work for another due to differences in personality, circumstances, and goals. Now we're talking about personalized or lack of personalized approaches, right? Generic advice often fails to address these nuances, leading to what? Ineffective outcomes. Wow. Number three, this is a good one. Overemphasis on positive thinking. Why would there be an overemphasis on positive thinking? How? How can you be overly positive, right? Now, overemphasis on positive thinking. Positive psychology emphasizes what? Strengths and virtues. But an overemphasis on positivity can lead to the neglect of real challenges and negative emotions. So, to feel negative emotions are healthy sometimes. This is reality that we live in, although we shouldn't allow the carnal to take total control of us, right? We shouldn't allow the anatomy of us being a man take complete control or navigation over the mind. Although our thoughts are positive, sometimes they can be, or there can be, negative outcomes. But we should have enough control to not allow the negativity to be displayed, or for our bodies or our anatomy or our carnal carnal to take control, displaying the negative behavior. It should be only a mere thought. And to think negatively, like I said, is sometimes positive. It's not positive, but it's healthy. Put it that way. Because this is reality that we live in. Not that it should affect your behavior and how you conduct yourself as an individual, right? Of course, you're going to feel those emotions. But do you use those emotions to correspond physically or even negatively when you correspond to whatever it is that's happening currently at that moment? Rather, it's verbal or rather, it's physical. To feel it and not do it can be a good thing if it's for the wrong reason, because you're overwhelmed with the emotions of your negative thought or thoughts or thought patterns, right? Now, what should we do? I tell you what we should do, or I can just give you a suggestion, as in to what you can do. Acknowledging and addressing these aspects is crucial for genuine growth. Come on now. Face your fears. Face your fears. Is that simple? Is that plain? Face your fears head on. Because guess what? You, as a person, must be accountable, especially after the age of 12. You, sir, or you, ma'am, or us, as people, as adults, as young adults, are responsible for our actions. And to better resolve the current issue is to what? Acknowledge it. It shouldn't take anyone else. It shouldn't take another person all the time to tell you that you're wrong. Because for one, you have or you take personal accountability for your actions. And sometimes we don't know that we're doing something wrong because it's just a way of life. It's just a lifestyle, or it's just a practiced culture that we don't realize how much we're exercising the doing of wrong or wrongdoing. So instead of someone else having to acknowledge it all the time, because, like I said, after the age of 12, we are responsible for our actions. We must be held accountable for our actions. We must be responsible for our actions. So we must take on full accountability, as I said, and acknowledge and address these aspects, right? Because, like I said, sometimes it's good to think negatively, but to pursue negativity or to pursue something and go about something in a negative way, if that be the reason, you definitely shouldn't do it, right? Because life is filled with challenges. And each time that you're under pressure or facing challenges, you crack under pressure, you fold under pressure, you bend under pressure, you fold under pressure, right? So we have to acknowledge these things, right? And this is a pruning process. This is the building of character. This is the process, right? This is for starters. This is the beginning process. This is the germination process, right? Okay. Acknowledging and addressing these aspects is crucial for genuine growth. Number four, insufficient support systems. Personal growth requires support from what? Others, being good examples or having good examples or admiration for someone, right? That you desire to be like, or someone that you desire to align your life with, right? Requires support from others without a supportive environment, individuals may struggle to maintain motivation and implement changes, just like I mentioned on the last video or within the last video. Every man she knew left her, but the baby they gave her stayed. That's what the young man needs in his life. An example, a good leader, people of the community, the community, men of positive influence, women of positive influence. When you're a single mother and doing it by yourself, the community is going to raise the child. You're raising them, true indeed, but that child or that young man must know something other than you. He has to know another energy other than yours, right? If you haven't checked out that video, please be sure to go and check it out. It was recorded about a week or two ago. Whenever you have the time and availability, it would be greatly appreciated if you go over there and check that out. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content. It'll be greatly appreciated. Walk with me, okay? Now, enhancing the effectiveness of personal growth efforts. To maximize the benefits of personal growth strategies, consider the following approaches. Number one, tailor strategies to individual needs. Hmm? Take notes of self, analyze self, write out something similar to what we would call a to-do list. You did? A to-do list. You know what I mean? And it's tailored to you and only you to better improve, right? But scientific studies states that it doesn't work. Scientific studies states that negative thoughts are healthy due to the fact that this is reality that we live in. And those emotions will be and shall be felt at some point in time, although although you don't allow those thoughts to negatively impact your life or negatively interfere or intervene with your day-to-day living and lifestyle. They are just thoughts, but you do not conduct yourself in that fashion. It's what we call wearing it well. It's called you don't know what I've been through. It's called never judge a book by its cover. Yeah, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, yeah. That's what we call it, right? But as a man, me being a man, I feel the need to constantly conduct myself in, as I always mention, the most upright fashion that I possibly can, regardless of those negative thoughts, right? Regardless of what I'm going through or experiencing, right? Because it's my responsibility to be a leader. What kind of a leader? A leader for self, right? When you have nobody to lead you, when you have nobody to guide you, because mom ain't gonna be there all the time, dad ain't gonna be there all the time. So what we do is take those traits or take those teachings, and what we do is we modify it to our lifestyle, right? In the best way that we know how. But they won't always be there. Rather, they're here living or they're gone. Or you live in an entire, an entirely, or an entire different state or country. They aren't going to always be there. So you have to exercise those teachings as an adult or as a youth, what have you. But as a man, me personally, I can engage in many things. But me being a man of integrity, it'll never leave me because it's what I stand on. Me being a man of respect, it'll never leave me because it's what I believe in and it's what I stand on. And the respect is mutual because it's what I believe in. It's what I stand on, right? Discipline, right? Getting up, handling my business every day, doing what it is I have to do. You know what I mean? At a certain time, no matter what. Just last night, I didn't make it to hotel until 2:30 a.m. My room was booked high noon the day prior. I didn't make it to my destination, and I didn't make it to my destination until about 2 o'clock a.m. this morning. After taking a shower and grooming myself and getting some fiber. I needed some fiber or whatever. In my diet, I wanted me a little tasty treat. I got me some oatmeal. And I know it was early in the morning, but I got me some oatmeal and put me a little peanut butter in there, and I combined the two and mixed it up and had me a little treat. And by the time all that was over and done with, I didn't lay down until after 5 a.m. and was up out of there before 11 this morning. because it's discipline, right? It requires discipline. And to the ladies, tailor strategies to individual needs. Like I said, it's a part of the the to-do list. That's what it is. It's a part of the to-do list. Same thing with men. Women have diaries, but it's a to-do list. Or if they have completed that task or those things, or if it just happened randomly. But that's simply what it is, or what I'm talking about. Right here, particularly, tailor strategies to individual needs. Understanding understanding or knowing what it is you need to do next, right? For a more abundant or successful life. Now, moving forward, recognize that personal growth is a unique journey. Did you hear that? Distinct, another word for distinct, right? Recognize that personal growth is a unique journey or distinct journey. Assess your strengths, weaknesses, and goals to choose strategies that align with your personal context. What? Come on now. Talk that talk, man. Listen, assess your strengths, weaknesses, and goals to choose strategies that align with your personal context. Number two, it's getting interesting. Combine effort with effective technique. No, 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 no. Huh? Not just techniques, not just combine effort with techniques. No, because doing that, you find yourself just burning tires, spinning your tires. You just spinning wheels, or you're on a hamster wheel, or you're on a merry-go-round, or you're on a unicycle. You know what I'm saying? When you combine effort, there has to be a technique, such as work smarter, not harder. Why? Because that is the effective way to do what it is you are doing at that moment. Working smarter, not harder. Being strategic in all your ways to accomplish what it is you need to accomplish. Being strategic, being unique in a way that you don't have to work as hard because you're just as clever. You're clever. You can get it done without it being so strenuous, right? You're using the effort, or you might be using the mind power, not might, without a shadow of a doubt. That's what you're doing. For you, it's all mental, but you have legs to do the work, right? So it doesn't require as much agility or physical capability or physical strength to get the job done. So you combine effort with effective, that's the key word, techniques, not just effort producing or effort combining it with a technique. A technique is just a technique. Anybody can have martial artists have techniques. Boxers have techniques, right? Tennis players, athletes in general have techniques. But anyone can have a technique. But the question is, can you score with that technique? Can you win with that technique? Can you take your opponent down with that technique as a martial artist? Jiu-jitsu, karate, taekwondo. Martial artists are skilled. They are skilled fighters. Boxers are skilled fighters. But the only way they will succeed is with the technique or by utilization of the technique. That's how you get the win. It's not just strategy alone. It's not just effort alone. It's not just a technique alone. It's an effective technique, right? Now, effort is essential, but it must be directed through effective methods. Seek evidence based techniques and be open to adjusting your approach based on feedback and results, kind of like social media ads, right? Now, I'm very experienced with ad campaigns, you know, SEO, etc., right? And have been for years. Now, an effective strategy in marketing, especially with paid campaign ads, there's a testing phase. Now, according to what your budget is, it doesn't always happen organically the way you want it to. So, whatever you have within your budget for the marketing or for the ad campaign, every ad that you create or produce isn't going to go viral all the time. Although you specify your audience, although you specify your gender, although you specify your age group or age range, right? It might not necessarily work, right? But eventually, after you've spent a couple of $100 or maybe a couple of $1,000, you say, hey, man, this is the response that I've been looking for. So what do I do? I'm going to keep it. I'm going to continue to run this ad. Now I need some more money, right? To add to the current budget for this project because this ad in particular is working. I spent a couple of $100. I might have spent $200 for the first ad or 200 a day for the first week, not getting the traction that I was looking for. So let me go in here and edit my strategy. Same thing with the stock market. You have to have a strategy. You don't just dump money into the stock market. You have to have not only a strategy, but an effective strategy, right? And when you find what works for you, what do? You enhance that strategy or you find other strategies because that strategy alone won't always get you the reward. So you got to always be moving and grooving. You got to always be thinking. You got to be clever in your way, especially in this thing we call life, right? But for the better, being positive, right? Or being more positive, right? Because why? The results are evidence based. Because why? Effort is essential, but it must be directed through effective methods. Seek evidence based techniques and be open to adjusting your approach. Like I said, with the strategy, it may work, but it might just be for a limited time only, right? For a limited time only. Do you remember those commercials? For a limited time only. Because that's what strategies are made to do. It'll get you up the hill, but will it get you over the hump? See, so you have to constantly create new strategies. Even if you have to revert back to old strategies, that strategy is still a strategy. It just wasn't effective during that time. During the time that you created it was working, but after so long, that strategy might not work because the time has changed. So what? You have to utilize effective techniques through effective method, through effective methods. Seek evidence-based techniques and be open to what? This is what it all it's an old strategy, but you just made the adjustment. And then it might be a new strategy, right? You're gonna always be making adjustments, especially when it comes or when it's regarding self-improvement, right? When it comes to self-improvement, techniques and be open, evidence-based techniques. Seek evidence-based techniques and be open to adjusting your approach based on feedback and results. So after all of the ad campaigns and everything is over and done with, it's come to a close, right? After, you've paid for so many days of promotion or your marketing ad, your promotions and things like that. Now you have data, a data analysis, right? After the completion of your ad campaign for however many days, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and an entire week, right? Now, the data analysis come back and it shows you what crowd is watching, what age group or age range is watching you or engaging with your post, etc. Right? So now you have something in which you can measure because where did it start from? Where did it start from? Tailoring strategies to your individual need. That's where it came from. Now, number three, embrace a balanced perspective. Mm, mm. Embrace a balanced perspective. While maintaining a positive outlook is beneficial, it's equally important to confront challenges and negative emotions, right? Challenge negative emotions. How do you challenge them? And why would you challenge them? Okay, I'll tell you why. This balanced approach fosters resilience and deeper growth, just like I mentioned earlier, building a support network, right? Build a supportive network, engage with mentors, peers, or support groups that encourage and guide your growth efforts. A strong support system can provide motivation, accountability, and diverse perspectives. Now, this is my conclusion to all of this. Let me know what you think in the comments, all right? And once again, Thanks for joining me. This is Awesome Will here. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also share this content. This is my conclusion and perspective about it all, right? Now, personal growth is a complex process, in my opinion, influenced by various psychological and environmental factors. While scientific theories provide valuable frameworks, their effectiveness depends on correct application, personalization, and support. Now, this is what we all must do. By understanding the science behind personal growth and acknowledging its limitations, individuals can adopt more effective strategies, leading to meaningful and lasting development, right? Now, we're talking about growth. Now, that was just a brief summary of what scientific studies prove about self improvement, right? And growth. The science of personal growth and why it doesn't work. But I beg to defer. How about you? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content. Now, let's go into a more historical background regarding growth, right? Let's do that. Many of you may be into or may not be into spirituality or religion. But what I'm doing is I'm combining this content in a way that it is relatable to most people or most individuals that have selected to share their time with me to better comprehend or to better understand, making it more relatable. Okay. So now let's go here. And this is an old because it's old in itself, historical. This is a metaphor which traces the origins of a tree planted by water. Let's say that this metaphor goes farther beyond historically than the Bible, right? Now, what about the tree? Is the tree a living, breathing thing? Is it relatable to a person? Why, sure. Trees provide us with all of the air that we inhale daily. The human body is made of 80% water, or it retains up to 80% fluids, and that fluid being water. It contains up to 80%, right? The tree it needs water to grow. It needs light, not only water alone, but it needs sunlight or some form of illumination to grow, just like the body. The body must absorb sun rays that it properly functions, right? And it also affects the way that you think, etc. Now, imagine this, the imagery of a tree planted by water. What does the water symbolize? It symbolizes resilience, nourishment, and spiritual vitality. It is a powerful metaphor found in the Bible, notably in Psalm 1:3 and Jeremiah 17:8. This metaphor likens a righteous person to a tree flourishing beside a life giving stream, emphasizing the benefits of spiritual nourishment and steadfastness. While this imagery is prominent in biblical texts, its conceptual roots extend beyond the Bible, drawing from ancient Near Eastern cultures and their relationship with what? Mother Earth, being nature, right? The biblical metaphor, a tree by the water. In Psalm 1:3, the righteous individual is described as like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Similarly, Jeremiah 17:8 states, they will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. These passages use the tree as a metaphor for a person who thrives spiritually when rooted in divine guidance, much like a tree flourishes when nourished by water. Now, check this out. Ancient Near Eastern context. Didn't I just mention it? Let's get into it. Ancient Near Eastern context. Nature and what? Spirituality. The ancient Near East was predominantly agrarian, with societies deeply connected to the natural world. Water resources like rivers and streams were vital for survival, agriculture, and prosperity. Consequently, trees planted near water became symbols of life, fertility, and stability. This symbolism permeated various cultures and religious practices, influencing the metaphors later adopted in biblical texts. Mesopotamian influences. The tree of life. In Mesopotamian mythology, the tree of life is a recurring motif representing a connection between the divine and mortal realms. These sacred trees were often depicted near water sources, symbolizing nourishment and the sustenance of life. Such imagery underscores the cultural significance of trees and water as intertwined symbols of vitality and divine blessing. Egyptian symbolism: trees along the Nile. Ancient Egyptian culture revered the Nile River as the lifeblood of the nation. Trees growing along its banks were seen as manifestations of fertility and abundance. The sycamore tree. The sycamore tree, in particular, was considered sacred and associated with goddesses like Hathor, symbolizing protection and nourishment. This reverence for trees by water highlights a shared cultural understanding of their significance. Comparative religious texts. The Quran. The Quran also employs similar metaphors, illustrating the universality of this imagery. For instance, in Surah Abrim 14:24 through 25, it states, "Do you not see how Allah presents an example, making it or making a good word like a good tree, whose root is firmly fixed and its branches high in the sky. It produces its fruit all the time by permission of its Lord." This passage parallels the biblical metaphor, emphasizing the enduring and fruitful nature of righteousness. The Dead Sea, the Dead Sea Scrolls, Hodiots, Hodiots imagery. The Hodiot, or Thanksgiving hymns, found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, contain passages that echo the tree by water metaphor. One hymn describes the author's soul as a tree planted by streams of water, drawing strength and sustenance from divine proximity. This reflects a broader Jewish tradition of using natural imagery to what? Convey spiritual truths. Now, universal symbolism. Trees and water in human consciousness. Wow. Universal symbolism. Let me say it again. Trees and water in human consciousness. Across cultures and religions, trees planted by water have symbolized life, growth, and spiritual nourishment. This universal metaphor resonates with the human experience of seeking sustenance, stability, and connection to something greater. The biblical usage of this imagery taps into a deep seated archetype, making its message both accessible and profound. What is my conclusion about this? There's an interconnection going on here, right? Allow me to give you my conclusion, please. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content. Open your heart, open your mind, and receive what I have for you. A shared metaphor across cultures. The metaphor of a tree planted by water, while prominently featured in the Bible, is part of a broader tapestry of human expression. Its presence in various ancient cultures underscores a shared understanding of nature's role in illustrating spiritual concepts. Now, recognizing these connections will enrichen our appreciation of what? The metaphors, depth, and its enduring relevance across time and tradition. It's all about the relevance, not relevance, but relevance, right? Now, since we're talking about trees, mastering the growth process of an oak tree. This is a comprehensive guide. Oak trees, known for their strength, longevity, and ecological importance, undergo a fascinating growth journey from a tiny acorn to a majestic canopy. Understanding this process provides insights into forest ecology, landscaping, and conservation efforts. This guide dives deeper into each stage of an oak tree's development, highlighting key factors that influence its growth and sustainability. Stage one, as I mentioned earlier, acorn germination. Germination is what I mentioned earlier. The life of an oak tree begins with an acorn, which contains the embryonic plant and a food reserve. didn't, I, didn't I say it? And a food reserve to support initial growth. Germination typically occurs in autumn when conditions are favorable. Key factors: viability test. Place acorns in water. Viable ones sink, while non viable ones float. Which are you? Are you the viable one or are you the non viable one? Right? Which acorn are you? Planting. Sow acorns in well drained soil. Why? Ensuring they are protected from predators. Germination process. The radical embryonic root emerges first. What? Huh? What emerges first? What emerges first during the germination process? The radical embryonic root. It emerges first, anchoring the seed and absorbing nutrients, right? Stage two, seeding. Development once germinated. The seeding stage involves the growth of the shoot system, including the stem and leaves. This phase is critical for establishing photosynthesis. Considerations: light requirements, hmm? Enlightenment, light requirements, similar to the growth process of the oak tree. right? That's you, that's me, that's us, right? Ample sunlight, vitamins are much needed. A, B, C, D, E, hmm, all of them, right? And sunlight is one of them, right? Nutrients, okay? For the body, not only for the body, not only for the person, but for the oak tree as well. Ample sunlight to what? Thrive. Soil conditions, nutrient rich, well drained soils support what? Healthy growth. Watering, consistent moisture, consistent moisture is essential, but overwatering should be avoided. Too much of anything can be bad for you, right? Hmm? I had to have a drink to that. Some good H2O, right? Too much of anything can be can be bad for you. If it isn't, it can become bad for you, right? Now, stage 3. It's getting good. Sapling growth. As the seeding matures into a sapling, it develops a woody stem and a more extensive root system. This stage can last several years, depending on environmental conditions. Growth cap, my gosh, man. Are you listening? Are you listening? If not, I would love for you to really, really open your mind and open your heart and your spirit. I really want you to get this. I really, really want you to receive this. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that share button. It don't cost you a thing. It'll be greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also share this content. This is the absorption, the absorption or absorption process, right? Right? Stage 3, sapling growth. As the seeding matures into a sapling, it develops a woody stem, and a more extensive root system, grounded, right? This stage can last for what? Several years. My father used to always say, you win some, you lose some, right? But to be a champ, it's a process, man. You don't start out a champion. Hmm? You don't start out a champ, right? There's levels to it. And with this process, it can take approximately, or with this particular stage of the growth process, it can take up to 7 years. Not even seven, several years, which could potentially be 7 years or more. Several years, depending on what? The environmental conditions. right? Some environments, we as human beings, we can't grow in, we can't develop in. The familiar saying, old familiar saying, big fish, small pond, it exists. It exists just like the tree, according to how fast or how soon you desire to grow, right? It depends on the soil or the environment. Sometimes there comes a time that you have to move, relocate, start that new job, start your own business, upgrade your software, upgrade your hardware, get that degree, get married and live life, have children, buy that new home, your first home in the neighborhood that you wanted to be in, not just because it was what your money could afford you, in the location that you want that particular property to be in, that residential property or home you wanted it to be in, that skill set, right? What's the purpose of being a mechanic if there's low volume of traffic in a particular area that you're in? You spent time, money, effort, and resources to become a diesel mechanic, right? But you're not exercising the certification because you're not in an environment that allows you to use that skill or even earn a better income. What's the point of you being an affluent, or what's the point of you being a talented singer, a songwriter, or even musician, but you want to hang out or you want to produce friends or you want to be friends and hang out and mimic hardcore gangsters and rappers? It's nothing wrong with having a relationship with some of them that you choose from. You know what I'm saying? But you're a singer. That don't mean that you ain't a man. You're a singer. You know what I'm saying? You make music for the women. You know what I'm saying? You make music, you sing about love, and you hanging out with everything. You hanging out with things that's the complete opposite of what you are. An environment in which you can't grow, right? You can grow, but chances are you'll end up just like them. Not to say that they ain't cool or that you can't have a relationship with particular people because I come from that. You know what I'm saying? But I know how to distinguish the two. You know what I mean? It's in me, but that's not who I am. You see what I'm saying? That ain't who I am. You know what I'm saying? I might have came from that, and but that's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna portray to. I'll never portray to be something that I ain't. That don't mean that I can't get there or I won't get there. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that. And not to say that I ain't cool or that I'm not all right with certain people. I just have boundaries. I have boundaries, and I'm not gonna transform into something that I know I'm not. I know I'm not that. I have the experience, but I'm not that, and I'm not gonna allow anything or any situation to transform me. Because why? I have boundaries. It's about what I want, not what they want. not what a particular situation wants, because that's not my life. I know all about it, but that's not my life. That's not who I am. That's not how I deal with my women. That's not how I engage with my audience. You see what I'm saying? I actually have something to think with. Not to say that some of them don't, but that is one of my strengths. Just like what they do is one of their strengths, because that's the world or the lifestyle they're accustomed to living. I do things a little bit differently because I know how to use my mind. I don't have to use extreme force all the time to get what it is I want. And I know that. I don't have to use extreme violence all the time to get what it is I want. You see what I'm saying? Because I actually know how to exercise and utilize my strength, not only as a musician or as a vocalist or songwriter, but as a businessman, a business savvy man, right? What good will it do you to become their hairstylist? You have a vision of one day opening your own boutique or your own beauty shop, right? But you don't have you're not in an area that you can provide that service to. You're not in an area that you can provide that service to. You want to travel, you want to go to conventions, you want to really get moving. You want to put it to work. All that you went to school and managed to obtain or attain to even generate better income for yourself. But you're not in an area that allows you to do that, right? So you have to find the correct or proper environment to do so. Like I said, even if it requires you moving out of state, out of the country, you know what I'm saying? You and your family, whatever adjustment, because once again, strategy, it's not just about the strategy, but what? It's not just about the technique, but what? The effectiveness of that technique. That's what it's about. A degree is just a degree if you're not using it correctly. A skill is just a skill if you're not using it or utilizing it correctly. A quality is just that, a quality, if you're not using it correctly and effectively, correctly, effectively, right? Now, when you make the adjustment, right, growth characteristics, your height increases. This is the sapling stage now. Height increases. Saplings can grow several feet tall, huh? Just like my father used to say too. It ain't about how you start, man. It's about how you finish, Jack. My dad used to always tell me that. And he used to always tell me too, you know, I'm boss, Jack. Man, 5'7", man. 5'7" man. And he thought like a giant. He moved in the earth like a giant. I'm boss, Jack. I'm the boss around here. You know what I'm saying? I'm boss. I'm in charge of my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm boss. As a performer or as a singer or whatever as well, he felt the same way on stage as he graced the stage or whatever. When he's there in the building, you gonna know he there. Huh? You gonna know he there. Cause he finna put it down when he come around. And he would always say, the stage is mine, man. I don't care who there. The stage belongs to me. I'm boss, Jack. And they gonna respect something around here. You see what I'm saying? That was his mind foot. That was his mindset. I'm sorry, and he was only 5'7", man. This was his mindset, right? He was a giant amongst many, but he was visible though. You see what I'm saying? They were giants too, but so was he. So was he. And he let his presence be felt. He let his presence be known. You got something to deal with, man. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I'm in the picture, whenever it got anything to do with me, yeah, you're gonna have to step your game up. You know what I mean? Now, depending on species and conditions, height increase. Saplings can grow several feet tall depending on species and conditions. Root expansion. A deep taproot develops, providing stability and access to deeper water sources, right? The more that you grow, the more that you would have, or the more you'll have at your disposal, the more access that you'll have. Just like, I mean, just like in business, like when you're just starting out, there's certain rooms that you probably would never imagine you being in because it was the beginning stage. Now you at year two, you're doing fairly good. You're getting recognition. You know what I mean? You're creating turbulence, or you rocking the plane, or the currents and the waters. You rocking the ship. You know what I mean? You creating waves. You know what I'm saying? To the point that now those very people want to ride your wave. They want to ride your wave. You weren't visible at one point in time. But now, they sat back just to see what you gonna do. But now they see that you've arrived. They like, man, I didn't think that they were gonna continue. I thought they'll be gone and out of the picture and probably doing something else. But they still around. They still have a impact. They growing. You know what I'm saying? They're flourishing. And it's been years. It's been a long time. And now all of a sudden you find yourself sitting in these rooms with the very people that you once upon a time, really you once upon a time admired for their work ethic. Now they want to do a merger. They looking at you and they like, man, I had it, but this guy or this girl right here, they really got it. You know what I'm saying? They really got it. I really want to sit with this person right here now because they've really put in the work. And we watched them for over a decade. We watched them for over 5 years. We thought that they would, like I said, probably get into something else or go away, but they've expanded. They've expanded. And we won't in on what it is they doing. You see what I'm saying? Now, like I said, with the proper care, the proper maintenance of self, even down to the way that you think, positive growth and development, right? Personal growth and development. The more that you grow, the more that you have access to. The accessibility is definitely there. And when you so large, or when you large and in charge, everybody want to rub shoulders with you. At one time, you didn't have enough. So they didn't want to deal with you. But now you got everything and they want everything to do with you, right? That's just life. You see what I'm saying? That's just life and how things work. You know what I mean? In your favor or the favor of people in general, right? It's all about your mindset. When you don't, like I always say too, don't worry, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's a process. Some things come in due time. You know, you feel like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready. You aren't ready. You think you're ready. You think that you're ready. You're not ready yet. Stop rushing the process because just like the oak tree, before the sapling stage, it can take what? Up to several years due to the environment that it's in or due to the environment that you're in, right? So change is needed, development is needed, growth is needed. You can grow, but can you do it properly? Proper growth, right? Anybody can grow, anything can grow. But come harvest season, will it be good? Will it be ripe? Will it be flavorful? Will the texture be the way that it's supposed to be? Right? Will its content be fulfilling to not only the taste bud, but to the tummy? You know what I'm saying? Now, depending on species and conditions, root expansion, a deep taproot develops, providing stability and access to deeper water sources. Leaf development. Here we go. The tree produces more leaves, enhancing photosynthetic capacity. Stage 4, juvenile tree. We coming up now, right? We coming up. In this phase, the oak tree continues to grow in height and girth, developing a thicker trunk and broader canopy. It's still not sexually mature, but is, I'm sorry, more resilient to environmental stresses. Key developments: bark formation. Key developments: bark formation. The bark becomes more defined, offering protection against pests and diseases. Branching. The tree develops a more complex branch structure, increasing its leaf area. Ecological role. Begins to provide habitat and food for various wildlife species. Stage 5, maturity and reproduction. An oak tree reaches maturity after several decades, depending on the species. It begins to produce flowers and acorns, contributing to the regeneration of the forest. You've made the initial investment, right? In self. Now, this is how, or this is the process, or this is the stage of you reaping the rewards of all your hard work. But scientific studies proves that personal development doesn't work, right? Or doesn't, or doesn't. Walk with me. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content, right? And thanks for joining me. Reproduction features: flowering, flowering, right? Oak trees produce male and female flowers, often on the same tree. Pollination. When pollination, when pollination is common, facilitating genetic diversity. Acorn production. Mature trees produce acorns annually or biannually, depending on environmental factors, right? Stage 6, Now, this is getting good, man. This is so good, right? It took time to get there. Now, it's going to take time just to keep it, right? Just like you've been producing in your younger years, it's going to take time in your latter years to sustain what it is you have, right? Even if it's materialized, right? Now, stage 6, old age and senescence, right? In its final stage, the oak tree may show signs of decline, such as reduced growth and increased vulnerability to pests and diseases. However, it continues to play a vital ecological role. Check this out. Ecological contributions. Habitat provides shelter for birds, mammals, and insects. Nutrient cycling. Fallen leaves and branches decompose, enriching the soil. Come on. Now, come on now. This is what the personal journey offers you. This is what the journey in itself offers the individual that's put in the hard work and the dedication. Me, myself, I'm going to be completely honest with you too. Now, they say you got to work hard, and this is going to be for another video. They say work hard, treat people right. You know what I mean? Be prosperous. You know what I mean? Get an education. We do all of that. You've done all of that and still doing it. Maybe this is why scientists or scientific studies claim that personal development or growth or change or transformation doesn't work. Because after all that you've done, after all that we've done in making the transition to live a more fulfilling, a fruitful life or a more positive life, you feel like you end up with the bad end of the stick. And you probably put in more work than anybody. Hmm? You've probably suffered more than anybody. And how you managed to attain your wealth, how you managed to attain your lifestyle, you fought them or you fought it fair and square. You did absolutely nothing with malicious intent. Hmm? And you do it and you've done it with a positive mindset. You sleep good at night because you know you ain't crap nobody over. Huh? You have no worries because you don't mess nobody over. But after all of that, you feel like you still came up short or you still coming up short. But don't you give up now. You too far in, baby. Don't you give up now. You here. We here. It's a fight to the end, right? And even if there isn't a literal fight, hmm, you've done so much in your lifetime that there's an abundance of wealth, just like the oak tree, just like the oak tree. Rather it be knowledge, rather it be financial, rather it be wisdom, like I said, knowledge, that's what you have to offer, right? To enriching people, hmm, just like the oak tree, not only to enrich himself, but to enrich in the soil. Oh, she fell off. Oh, he fell off. Yeah, but the soil good. The leaves fell off. His leaves falling off. Yeah, but the soil is excellent. You should try to put some down there in the ground and see what you get, because the soil is rich. Yeah, the leaves falling. Yeah, they fall off. They fell off and they falling off. Isn't it? Yeah. Check that soil out, man. Because just like the oak tree, it enriches the soil when the leaves shed or when they decompose after they've been around the tree for so long, right? The fallen leaves and branches, right? After decomposition, sorry, enriching the soil. Legacy, even in decline, the tree supports biodiversity and forest structure. Now, factors influencing oak tree growth. Several factors impact the growth and health of oak trees throughout their life cycle, just as I just mentioned. Soil quality, nutrient rich, well drained soils promote what? Robust growth. Soil quality, nutrient rich, well drained soils promote robust growth. Water availability, adequate moisture is crucial, especially during early stages. Sunlight, full sun exposure supports optimal photosynthesis. Climate, temperature, and precipitation patterns influence growth rates and survival. Pests and diseases, monitoring and management are essential to prevent damage. Conservation and management practices. To ensure the longevity and health of oak trees, consider the following practices: regular monitoring, check for signs of stress, disease, or pest infections, taking care of yourself. Now, pruning, remove dead or diseased branches to maintain structure and health. Come on, man. Come on now. Anything dead, anything wearing you down, anything that's keeping you anchored negatively, lighten your load, man. Lighten your load. Remove it. Get rid of it. Change your environment. And sometimes your environment is your mind. You just being caught or stuck in your own head all the time. Hmm? Change your mindset. Transform your mindset. You thinking like a dump. You're thinking. You are thinking like a dump. You have a trash way of thinking. And if it's not about anything or anybody else, it's about yourself. You have a trash way of thinking about yourself. And you need to change that, right? Because just like the oak tree, just like the oak tree, diseased branches, there has to be a pruning process. And you got to remove dead thoughts, dead relationships, toxic, toxic energy. You got to remove yourself from all of that, right? Because it's going to stunt your growth. You must remove dead or diseased branches to maintain what? Structure, alignment, right? Tightness. You know what I mean? And health. Now, this is getting interesting, right? The oak tree is still a producer, even in old age. Even in old age, the oak tree is still a producer. Why? Because not only does it provide the soil or enriches the soil, but now there's a mulching process, right? Now, this is what you do, right? With the mulching process. Apply mulch around the base to retain moisture and regulate temperature. Protection. Safeguard young trees from herbivores, just like carnivore, right? Herbivores and mechanical damage. Biodiversity. Encourage a diverse understory to support a balanced ecosystem. Understanding the growth process of oak trees enhances or our appreciation for these remarkable organisms and underscores the importance of their conservation by recognizing each stage of development and the factors influencing growth. We can better support oak populations and the ecosystems they sustain. Mastering now, oh my God. Now, we talking about growth, right? And in order to grow, in order to develop, in some instances, you have to prune, right? You have to prune. There has to be a pruning process for some things to grow, just as we mentioned about, or just as I mentioned about the oak tree, right? You know what, man? I want to grow a full beard. This is your mindset as a guy. I want to grow a full beard. But me, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Even, in the process of growing a full beard, there's something that we call a ugly stage. Then you also have no shave November, right? There's an ugly stage, right? And none of us likes to go through it, but it's true. But when you properly trim it, when you just cut the split ends, you take some scissors, cut the split ends, or you take some trimmers, some taping clippers, and shape it up. You know, don't go too far. Don't dig too far into it. Just cut the split ends. It's still gonna have its it's still gonna have its rugged ruggedness to it. Far as the texture of it, it's not gonna be smooth. It's not gonna be beautiful right away. Although you're grooming it, and no matter how much beard pomade you use, it it's not necessarily going to it's not it's not necessarily going to even it out or level it out, you know so what you're gonna have to do is cut the split ends for it to grow. You're gonna have to nip The split ends. Give me just a second, guys. I apologize. Give me just a second. I got to do something really quick. Yes, yes. Hopefully you're still with me. I do apologize for that. I had to do something very quick. You know, once again, I apologize. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also share this content. I hope that you are enjoying thus far. Like I said, I had to stop very briefly to take care of something very important. But let's get back into it. Like I mentioned about the beard process, you're gonna have to trim it down, or either you use a guard, or even if you use scissors. You know, there is an ugly stage before the beard is beautiful, before the beard becomes beautiful, right? So now let's get into it. We're talking about growth, right? And what we can do to manage the growth and the rate in which we do it, right? Now, scientifically, or through scientific studies, it was said that it doesn't work. Self improvement or growth, right? Doesn't work. But how about this? Understanding dreadlocks, new growth. Understanding dreadlocks, new growth. What is new growth? New growth refers to the hair that emerges from your scalp after your locks have been established. This hair is in its natural, unlocked state and requires integration into your existing locks to maintain a uniform look and prevent issues like matting or thinning. The importance of managing new growth, properly managing new growth, is essential for maintaining lock, right? This is how you manage personal growth as well. It has similarities, the same as the oak tree, right? Integrity. Dreadlocks itself, the hair itself speaks of integrity. Hmm? Hmm? How about you having integrity, right? How about we have integrity? The culture of dreadlocks itself speaks of integrity. Now, integrity. Unmanaged new growth can lead to weak spots or breakage. When we are fighting things or when we have unresolved issues in our lives, rather it be people, places, or things, because it is now gone unmanaged and it's lost its structure. We've lost structure in our personal lives, right? So this is what happens. Something similar to the dreadlock, right? Unmanaged new growth can lead to what? Weak spots or breakage. When the enemy, when the enemy gets in, that's what happens because your affairs have gone unmanaged with self. Hmm? When you're not paying attention, the enemy sneak right in with no admission. Hmm? With no admission, he or she didn't pay for it. So what? They sneaking in. Why? Because you let them in. Too many loose ends, right? Now, that's what happens when things go unmanaged, especially in your personal life, right? Now, scalp health. Regular care prevents scalp issues like dryness or buildup. Aesthetic consistency ensures your locks look neat and well maintained, right? The stages of lock development. Understanding the stages of lock development helps in anticipating and managing new growth effectively. Starter locks, 3 to 6 months. Hair is sectioned and styled into coils, twists, or braids. Budding stage, 6 to 12 months. Just like the oak tree, the sap stage, but with the budding stage, 6 to 12 months. The sap stage or the sapping stage for the oak tree is just like the starter locks, just like the starter locks process, 3 to 6 months, right? Now, hair begins to mat and form knots, integrating what? New growth. And there's nothing like growing together with someone of like mindedness, right? Now, teen stage, 12 to 15 months. Locks thicken and may appear frizzy. New growth becomes more prominent. Mature stage, 15 to 18 months. Locks are firm and new growth integrates more seamlessly. Now, rooted stage, 18 to 24 months. Just like I told you with the small business, you start your business. Just like the lock process, right? In 2 years, right? In 2 years, going hard at it every day, even with self development. In 2 years, going hard and being disciplined and getting on your own case and no one else having to get on your case about anything, right? There comes maturity. You aren't there yet, but there's maturity, right? Now, rooted stage. And that's why, because you are now rooted. You won't be rooted next week. You won't be rooted next month. You might not even be rooted next year. And some people are more accepting to the process and more devoted and more dedicated to the process than others. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to take 2 years. But this is just an example. Some mature faster than others. Like I myself, as a kid, I grew up around older guys. All of my friends were much older than I was when I was a teenager. And even as a young adult, most of my friends were older than I was, right? Now, rooted stage, 18 to 24 months. Locks are fully mature and maintenance focuses on preserving health and appearance, right? Here we go again. Just like there's a technique when it comes to strategy, right? There's a technique, just like when it comes to athleticism for the win, to put the point on the board. There is also a technique for managing new growth with dreadlocks. These same principles or these same things applies to even dreadlocks. Number one, regular retwisting frequency. Every 4 to 6 weeks, depending on hair growth rate. Method, after washing, apply a light twisting gel to the roots, twist the new growth, and secure with clips until dry. Caution, avoid over twisting. Just like I said, there is a such thing as overdoing things, a possibility of overdoing things. Same thing applies. Same principles apply when talking about dreadlocks in the culture or the grooming of dreadlocks, right? Now, apply a light twisting gel to the roots, twist the new growth, and secure with clips until dry. Caution, avoid over twisting to prevent tension and potential hair loss. Number two, palm rolling. Purpose, helps maintain the shape of locks, hmm, and integrates new growth. You hear that? Huh? Hand rolling. For what? For shape. Huh? Now, this is how you should do it. What is the technique? Okay. Roll the lock between your palms in a clockwise motion. Hmm? Frequency, daily for new locks, weekly for mature locks, weekly, weekly now for mature locks, daily for new locks, right? Now, number three, crochet hook method. Use, ideal for pulling in loose hairs and tightening locks. Caution, should be done carefully to what? Avoid damaging the hair, right? Scalp and hair care for new growth. Number one, a cleansing, right? Washing. Frequency, every 1 to 2 weeks. Products. Check this out. Products. What products do you use? Right? Use residue-free shampoos to prevent buildup. Come on, man. Residue-free. Clutter. Clutter. Huh? That's what you need. Something clutter-free, residue-free. Something that doesn't leave a stain on your mental. Something that doesn't leave a stain on your character, right? You need a cleansing, a mental cleansing, a spiritual cleansing. That's what you need when it's when it's concerning personal growth, right? Now, that's to prevent buildup, bad relationships, bad friendships, right? Now, drying. Ensure locks are thoroughly dried to prevent mildew. Hmm? Number two, moisturizing. Oils, jojoba, coconut, and argan oils are excellent for scalp hydration. Application, lightly apply oils to the scalp and new growth to prevent dryness. The oil of God, the oil of the Most High, the oil of the Most High God, Yeshua, Yahweh. Hmm? Allah, right? Buddha, Jah, Jireh, Jehovah Jireh, right? Now, night care, protection. Use a silk or satin scarf. I use one for my beard, right? Use a silk or satin scarf or pillowcase to reduce friction and maintain or retain moisture, right? Nutrition and lifestyle for healthy new growth. Balanced diet. Now, this is just for hair, right? This is the hair. This is the process for healthy dreadlocks, right? This is for the hair. But imagine what can happen if you transform your thoughts and your mindset the same way as you care for something simple as your hair, right? Mental clarity, reduce stress for the body, right? Now, balanced diet, nutrients, ensure intake of vitamins, vitamins A, C, E, and minerals like zinc and iron. Hydration, drink plenty of water to keep hair hydrated from within. Source, that's the source, okay? Now, two, scalp massage. Benefit, stimulates blood flow, promoting hair growth. Method, gently massage the scalp for a few minutes daily. Three, stress management. See, stress, we talking about hair. We talking about hair, right? The integrity of the dreadlock, the integrity of the person, the integrity of the body, the integrity of the mind, the integrity of the spiritual, right? The integrity of the physical, right? Stress management impact. High stress can lead to hair loss. Strategies incorporate relaxation techniques like meditation and regular exercise. Some common mistakes to avoid: over manipulation, excessive twisting or styling can weaken locks. Heavy products, avoid waxes and thick creams that cause buildup. Now, I myself, I use beard balm, I use beard wash, I use beard oil, right? Because I'm creating a wave pattern in my beard. It's not as full as I want it to be. But some nights, due to me wanting to reduce the potential buildup from using all of those products on a daily basis, mainly the beard balm, I decide, you know what? I'm not going to put that on my face, tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the conditioner, the leave-in conditioner, and I'm just going to put some beard oil in there. I'm going to add some beard oil. I'm going to brush it, and then I'm going to put the satin cloth on so I can lay it down. So it'll be soft, it'll be shiny, and my wave pattern, will show because it's a grooming stage. It's like I said, the beard goes through an ugly stage, but I'm working on getting the pattern down in there. And the more that I properly maintain it, eventually the waves will be just like, the waves in my beard is gonna be just like the waves on my head because I've trained the beard, right? I've trained it. But like I said, sometimes I don't use before going to bed, I don't use the pomade because I want to prevent buildup. I don't want buildup to be in the pores, right? And besides, beard balm leaves, a film. And I don't want to be sleeping, and sweating because, I have this beard balm on my face. You know what I mean? So to sleep or to create more comfortability, I just spray on the leave-in conditioner and the beard oil and put the satin cloth on over my face, over my beard, right? Because it's lighter, right? Heavy products, avoid waxes and thick creams that cause buildup. Neglecting scalp. Neglecting scalp health. A healthy scalp is essential for strong locks. Ignoring professional advice. Regular consultations with a loctician can prevent and address issues early. Admitting that you have a problem, admitting or addressing that you have issues early on, like I mentioned, you can conquer the problem with self and any potential problem simply by addressing what the issue is. Same thing with dreadlocks. The integrity of dreadlocks. Ain't that something, right? Now, for my conclusion, managing new growth is a vital part of the dreadlock journey. With consistent care, proper techniques, and a healthy lifestyle, your locks will continue to flourish. Embrace the process and remember the patience and diligence are your best tools in achieving and maintaining beautiful, healthy dreadlocks. For personalized advice and product recommendations, consider consulting with a professional loctician who can once again tailor guidance to your specific hair type and lock journey. Hmm? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's have a toast, or let's make a toast to the journey of new growth. Just as I was sliding by, I decided that I'd slide on in and produce another live for you. I am now about to slide on out and proceed about. Once again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.